The demo for Metaphor ReFantazio has a lot of really spectacular content and a lot of really spectacular details and bits of lore for us to sink our teeth into prior to the formal release of the game a little bit later this week. But before that release, I want to go over some of the details from the demo that really kind of resonated with me and kind of help us prepare for the masterpiece that Atlus has produced and that we're going to be experiencing here in a couple days. Now, the first thing I want to talk about comes at the very beginning of the game, when we're talking with Captain Klinger, and he's trying to figure out where we fit into the ranks of the military. And he asks us a question about why we want to join the military and what we bring to the militia. And the responses that we are able to give him are, I'm stronger than I look, I've got a sharp mind, I can take a lot of punishment, I'm small but quick, and I've always been lucky. Now, at first glance, this just feels like flavor text and won't affect the main game all too much. But in reality, this choice will affect your base stat totals. Not by an incredible amount, but it will have an effect. For example, if you choose I'm stronger than I look, then that will give you an initial +2 in your strength, but it will give you a -2 in your magic. If you choose I can take a lot of punishment, then that'll give you a +2 in endurance, but a -2 in agility. Subsequently, if you choose I've got a sharp mind or I'm small but quick, that'll give you +2s in magic and agility, but -2s in strength and endurance respectively. The outlier here is I've always been lucky, but this comes at the detriment of reducing all of your stats by 1 and raising your luck stat by 4. So depending how you want to build the protagonist in your playthrough, this could actually give you a pretty decent jumpstart on that stat building, depending on what stat you want to focus on the most. The next thing I really wanted to talk about is something that I think is pretty well known, all things considered, but with a little bit of an extra detail. So as we're going through the Nord mines, we come across a dragon. And, you have the option to either circumvent the dragon or you can attack it head on. And if I'm honest, especially if you're playing on normal mode, the dragon isn't too tough to defeat. And there's a lot of benefit from killing that dragon straight from the get-go because you're able to get all of the loot, which is worth a lot of money around it, and a really good sword for the warrior archetype. Now, that's all well and good. You get a really strong weapon and a lot of money from this. So that's all well and good, you get a lot of experience, you get a lot of magla, you get a lot of money from all of the items, you get a really good weapon, but what I want to focus on is the fact that this weapon and some armor that you receive while you're going through the Nord mines can be purified. Now, you're able to start purifying these items, these weapons, while you are in the demo. But the way that you go about purifying these things is by going to the St. Firmus Church on San Lumio Street in Grand Trad. Now, if you talk to the priest, he won't purify any of this stuff until you have the Royal Virtue of Wisdom upgraded to rank 2. So how do you go about doing that? And is this possible in the demo? The answer is obviously yes, or else it wouldn't be in the video. The way you can get your wisdom as efficiently as possible to rank 2 is by going to San Lumio Street, and there's a little bench that you can people watch from. If you people watch, this will give you a couple points towards that Royal Virtue of Wisdom. But also on San Lumio Street, you can get a quest from an aspiring chef from the Nydia tribe who wants to learn as best he can how to cook so that he can impress the people he's working for. So we then need to go back to the inn at night and chat with Fabian after we've people watched for all of the afternoon. And after we get done cooking with her, that'll send us to bed. And the next day in the afternoon, we can go and talk to that Nydia tribe member. And when we turn in that quest, we'll get enough wisdom points to upgrade that royal virtue to level 2. Now, what this does in turn is allows us to go back to the St. Firmus Church and upgrade the armor and the weapons that we received from the Nord mines to make sure that they are as strong as possible. With that being said, you need blessed water, and that's how you can start purifying things as soon as day 2 in the game. But that also leads me to the third cool thing from this demo that I really wanted to talk about. But before we go any further, if you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, please just take a second to do it. because honestly, it helps the channel more than you could ever imagine, and maybe even share this video if you know someone who you think might enjoy it. But let's get back to talking about Metaphor. Now, the third thing from this demo that I really wanted to talk about is kind of a hidden archetype that would be very easily missed, and it ties into the fact that you can get wisdom to rank 2 by day 2. So once you purify all of your weapons, you can go talk to Brigitte, who is the owner of the Igniter shop. Once you talk to her with rank 2 wisdom, she'll ask you to go on a little bit of a quest to her to the Beliga corridor, which is a 1-day round trip. So this is going to eat up all of your day 2 in the demo, but I think it is well worth it because this is an optional dungeon that you're able to do, and essentially it's a dungeon full of goblins. They're called Goburns in this game, but they're goblins, and you can fight through this entire dungeon in the span of that 1 day that you are there. And if you can get to the end and defeat the final boss, who is very difficult even on normal mode, but distinctly beatable, you can go back to the city that day. You'll have to rest that night, and then by day 3 you're able to talk to Brigitte again, turn in the quest, and this will initiate a follower conversation where you create a bond with Brigitte and you are able to unlock the merchant archetype. Now, typically, if you just go to the cathedral, you're able to get the brawler archetype from Katharina, so it's kind of a give and take. Either in the demo you get the merchant archetype, or you get the brawler archetype. There's no way to get them both in the span of the 3-day demo, so it really just depends on if you want to get this optional dungeon out of the way, which is really fun and challenging, or if you just want to progress the story as far as you can before the 3-day time limit is up. But the merchant archetype is really cool because instead of using MP or health, it actually uses money for its attacks, which might not be the most economical, especially at the beginning of the game, but is a cool little extra dynamic in the gameplay, and by having the merchant archetype equipped, it will increase the effectiveness of the items that you use and the drop rates of monsters. So it's a give and take for sure. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, and this very well could be a spoiler for the game, so if you don't want a spoiler for what's coming up in the game, maybe just skip past this segment, because we're diving into who I think the final party member is who has not been revealed officially in any of the trailers is. Now, in this demo, Grius is talking at one point about Luis, and behind Luis we are able to see 4 figures who we've seen before plenty in a lot of the promotional material, which, going from left to right, these characters are Fidelio, a young Parapos tribe member, Basilio, an older looking Parapos tribe member, Juna, who we know becomes a party member and she's from the Nydia tribe, and the Necromancer, who looks to be half Clemmer, half Mustari. And so with these figures kind of shaded in the background, I thought it was interesting that they were already kind of setting up who Luis's squad was. And I think it's interesting that we know for a fact, Atlus has revealed it, that one of his squad eventually becomes one of our allies, and that's Juna. However, I don't think it's just one of them that becomes our allies. I think that we have enough concrete evidence from the demo and from the trailers, and even from the cover art, that 2 of those 4 will become party members. And I think that Basilio is going to become one of our party members. The reason for this being, if we go to Academia, we will see all of the party members' archetypes on the left side of Academia. We see the Seeker, the Warrior, the Knight, the Thief, who we know is Heisme. We see the Masked Dancer, which we know is Juna's archetype. We see the Summoner, which we know is Yufa's archetype. And then we see the Berserker, which, based on the Berserker's art, which we have seen, it predominantly uses an axe. Now, there is only one character in the game thus far that we have seen use an axe, and that is Basilio. In one of the demos that they have shown over the summer, we see him fighting in a cutscene with a large axe. And it got me thinking, we have a representative of every other tribe in our party except for the Parapus tribe. And this game focuses so heavily on this idea of tribal unity and becoming one people. I don't think it would make sense for us not to have a Parapus tribe member as part of our party. And we know that Katharina isn't going to join our party in any meaningful capacity because she's going to be running for the throne as well. So that kind of leaves Basilio as our option. I think that the demo has inadvertently, or maybe advertently, told us that Basilio is going to be the final member of our party in the game. But all that aside, I would love to know if you knew all this stuff already, or if I told you something that you might not have known about the demo. And let me know if you are getting this game day one, or if you're gonna wait for a while to see kind of what the overall reception to it is. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, why not liking this video, why not subscribing to the channel, and why not even ringing that notification bell so you never miss another upload. But with all that out of the way, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, a fantastic rest of your week, and why not even a fantastic rest of your month, and I will see you in the next video. Later.